Hey everyone, I wanted to do a quick video to go over information that's in the syllabus and things that you're going to need to get started in this course. So let me introduce the course. It's Accounting and Engineering 307, Accounting for Managers and Engineers. So this is a course that's going to get you that accounting knowledge that you need to have when you're working in any business organization, whether you're an accountant or not. So we're going to give you that background that you need in financial accounting and managerial accounting in this course. So I'm Cheryl Weston. I'm your instructor for the 16-week course. I'll introduce myself first, and then we'll go over the information about the course and the information in the syllabus. And then anything that you have questions about, feel free to reach out to me after watching this video. So, a little bit about myself. I've been teaching at Western for over 20 years now. I did start out in public accounting, in audit, and tax. I've had several different career moves since then, working in government and banking, but I have been teaching for quite some time now. On the side, though, I've had several different businesses over the years. So I do try to stay current in things that are going on out in the business world. I also am faculty advisor for Beta Alpha Psi. We bring a lot of professionals, accounting, financial, back to campus to present and network with students. I'm in charge of the business career fair that's held on the Macomb campus. So we do a lot of networking and trying to connect with people out in the profession. So anyway, that's me. Again, I am a CPA. I am a Beta Alpha Psi advisor. I'm graduate advisor for the Master of Accountancy program at Western. All right. How can you get a hold of me? Here's my email address, ca-weston@wiu.edu. My office location is in Stipes 420. Listed below are my office hours, Tuesday and Thursday afternoons and Wednesday afternoon. If you're on campus, feel free to stop by Stipes 420. I'll be there during those office hours. If you are a true online student, you can connect with me virtually using that Zoom link during office hours. I try to remember to turn on the Zoom link. If for some reason during office hours you pop into the Zoom and I'm not there, send me a quick email saying, hey, that you're in the Zoom, and I will jump right in. Here's also UTech at Western. If you're having any problems with your Western Online or login or anything revolving around your technology at Western, feel free to contact them. More about this course. It does run 16 weeks. It's asynchronous online, so we don't have a set meeting time. All the material is online. You can access everything through Western Online. We'll also be using Connect from McGraw-Hill, which is a homework management system, but again, you'll link to that from Western Online. You can do it whenever you would like to, but there are due dates for assignments. So that will be laid out in the syllabus and in your course schedule, and you'll be able to see those dates when you go into Western Online and into Connect. The course description, you can take a look at that. Uh, you shouldn't be in this course if you've taken accounting 201 and 202. So 201 is financial, 202 is managerial. The accounting 307, engineering 307 is basically combining those two courses and giving you a little bit of overview of both financial and managerial. You should be at least a junior. Let's see on this course. Nope, this is intermediate. Sorry. The textbook that we're using, we won't have a print textbook, but again, we're going to be using that McGraw-Hill Connect access to access our textbook. So we're going to have an electronic book through Connect. And through Connect, that's where we'll be completing most of the assignments, and that's where most of your material will be for this course. So this is the specific ISBN number. It's listed in the syllabus. You can purchase the book, excuse me, when you get registered online with Connect, and I'll show you that in a minute. you have the option at that time to purchase it, and it'll keep asking you if you want to purchase it direct through them once you're in Connect. You could also purchase it from the bookstore. If you purchase it from the bookstore, they will actually mail you like a physical card that has the code. So anticipate a little bit of a lead time needed to get that. You can charge it to your WIU account. So I know some people want or need to use that as an option for them. When you sign up for Connect, though, they do have the option for like a 2 week free trial. So you do have some time to still get that code, even if you don't have it today. So learning objectives, we're going to be looking at both financial accounting and managerial accounting. We want to understand in business, what is this accounting? What does that mean? What are the concepts? What are those financial transactions that are happening? How do they get recorded and how do they get reported? So we'll look at transactions, journal entries that happen daily within an organization, how that information is compiled and reported in our financial statements. And then we're going to take it that next step. We're going to take a more managerial emphasis and look at different costing methods that you'll see in management accounting. We'll work a lot with manufacturing costs. And we'll do things like budgeting and cost volume profit analysis. So if I sell this many more units, what will that do to my income? Or if I change this expense and that expense, if I'm able to decrease my product cost and I have these other costs fluctuating, what does that do to my bottom line? Is that something that I want to have happen? Um, Additionally, things like a break-even point, how much do I have to sell in order to cover all my costs? What do I need to do in order to have a profit of $1,000, $10,000? So we'll be doing a lot of fun analysis like that. Okay, so that's a little bit about the course. Here's more information on the technical side. If you're new to Western and Western Online, sorry, let me pop over here. When you get into your Western, oh, it doesn't like that. Okay. When you come into Western and you log into Western Online, so you would just do that wiu.edu. There's a link on the syllabus, and you can come to the menu here and click on Western Online, and it's going to take you to this Western Online homepage. I don't think I switched my internet to the one that's fastest where I'm at right now. But anyway, so it's a little slow. And any course that you're registered for, you're going to see down below here, and you should see Accounting 307. So if you're properly registered for the course, you're going to see 307 as an option. When you click into that, obviously it's going to tell you what class this is. It's got my contact information. You can click on the instructor info and see a little bit more there. You can click right here, go directly to the syllabus. What else is on this screen? I'm going to be utilizing announcements a lot. So I'll be posting things at least every week on the announcement page, some more specific instructions about what we're doing that week. Over here on the right-hand side, that's going to be all of the assignments and all the content for the course, and we'll dive into that in just a minute. And then down here, you're going to have a calendar. So whatever's due on whatever date, you're going to see down here in the calendar. And so you can click on those and link to those. Same thing over here. Our chapter 1 assignments, well, there they are, and you can click on them and get to them right there from the content area. One of the things that I have in Western Online that isn't in Connect, but they are slides from our textbook, are PowerPoint slides. So if you want to utilize those, and you can download them. So here are PowerPoint slides for chapter 2. So if you like to print off those and have those, you can download them and print them as you see fit as it helps you. So those are right there. But let's go ahead and let's get into Connect. So there's a direct link to it right here on, when you first get into Western Online. So I'm just going to click on that. And so when you first are coming through on that link, it's going to ask you to register in Connect for this course. So it'll just do that the one time. And um, so to find out more information about what it's going to ask you and how to go about that, I've got this little video in the syllabus when I'm talking about Connect. So here's information in the syllabus about Connect. You can run a troubleshoot on your computer. Here's a little video that walks you through the registration process. But basically, when you click on this link, it's going to take you to a page. It's probably going to ask for your name, your email, some sort of password. And then once you've set that up to register for the class, the next time then you click on this link, it's going to take you directly to this screen here, and you're going to click on Go to My Connect section. So once you get registered in Connect, next time you come through on Western Online, you have the ability just to go into the Connect homepage. Sorry, my view is a little bit different than the student view, so I just clicked on the student view. So this is what you're going to see when you get into Connect. So I'm going to jump ahead on the syllabus, and I'm going to show you some of the weekly or chapter assignments that we're going to have. So during the 16 weeks, we're going to end up covering 13 chapters. We do skip around a little bit. We start with chapters 1 and 2, skip to chapter 4. And so things that you're going to have for assignments with every chapter, you're going to have 2 assignments with every chapter, a smart book assignment and a homework assignment. So we're going to take a look real quickly at those. So chapter 1, that's the first chapter that we're going to cover. Smart book assignment, if you click on, so I just did a down arrow under chapter 1, clicked on the smart book, clicking on begin. So the smart book, it gives you access to the um, textbook, so you can read the textbook, and I'll show you another way to get to it. And then there's also a question part of it. So actually, let me exit the assignment and re-enter it. So again, let me go into the smart book, click begin. When I first came in, I just blew right through that. It does say the due date, estimated time that this assignment should take, how many concepts it's going to test you on. So the Smart Book assignments are going to be worth 10 points for every chapter. And again, we've got 13 chapters, so it ends up being 13% of your grade. And I'm just going to go straight to start the questions. And you'll see you've got this progress bar up the top, 0 through 32 concept that it's going to test. It's going to ask you a question, might be fill in the blank, multiple choice, true, false, maybe some matching. Accounting is the process of, and if you have no idea, what you can do is go read about it. So if you haven't done your reading yet, you can go directly to the book, and typically it's going to take you to the section of the textbook that's going to help you to answer that question. So I'm going to go back to the question. I'm just going to select something randomly, which is not the right answer. But the other thing that you need to select is what's your confidence in your answer. I'm going to say low. And then as soon as you click that, it's going to give you the answer. So it is saying, oh, what I picked was wrong. The correct answer would have been this, identifying, measuring, and communicating information about an organization. So the only AI that I'm allowing in the course is they do have an AI reader integrated into the electronic textbook, and it comes through then in this smart book assignment. So if that helps you to do the reading, you can definitely use that. I don't know that it's necessary at all, but it is there as an option. So I didn't get this right. No progress has been made. I'm moving on to the next question. So the next one, so primary users include all of the following except, oh. I'm going to go to read about the concept. Okay, users and uses of accounting information. So here's who they're identifying are users of accounting information, management, investors, creditors, employees, the SEC, and you can read more about that. So now let's go back to our question. Competitors, management, creditors, investors, employees, and you can select your answer, select your level of confidence. And then once you do, it gives you the answer. If you got it correct, it's going to start filling in this progress bar. If you didn't get it correct, it's going to keep recycling something along this concept until you've answered correctly. So don't think I've missed it, it goes away, you're never going to see it again. It's going to keep recycling something similar until you've tackled all of those concepts. So it won't go away. So you will need to figure it out. Okay, when you exit this assignment, it will save what you've done so far. I haven't done anything, so there's not much to save there. But you can always pop in and out of the Smart Book when you have time to work on it. And you can see right here the due date for it is September 4th. So you're going to have a Smart Book for every chapter. And then also the homework assignments, you'll have a homework assignment from every chapter. This has end of chapter material. Homework assignments are 20 points. Both Smart Book and homework assignments are due the Friday evening by 11:59 p.m. So you have until that time to complete the assignment. So this is end of chapter, maybe let me go into a different chapter other than chapter one. We'll go to chapter two. So let me pop into the homework for chapter two. And chapter two had a due date of September 11th. So end of chapter homework. So we've got this problem. It's 2-19. It's asking you to total up some things. What are total current assets? That's what it wants you to input in this box here. What's total liabilities? So I'm going to go up here, all the accounts that they have listed. I'm going to add up the things that are current assets. So, and then I'm going to put the total in down below. Okay, on your homework assignments, you have several things to help you with your work. You've got this check my work figure feature. So anything that you've input, it's going to check and say if it's correct or incorrect. Well, accounts receivable is a current asset, but there's more than just accounts receivable. So 33,000 is not the correct answer. And then also gives me this message about answer is not complete because it's also asking all these other things which I didn't even attempt. But you can return to question, try this again. Let's see, going down the list, some current assets. I should have cash in there. I should have supplies. Inventory. So I should have all those things. So I would add those up and I would put that number in. The other thing you have as a reference when you're doing your homework, you can always pop in the textbook. So the textbook always has information. So you can pop into the textbook and go to, wherever you need to be in the textbook. And then It does even take you to some specific spots. I mean, you saw that link where it's saying, hey, why don't we go look at those financial statements? Here's some current assets. What else did it link to? Explanations and definitions. Oh, that's handy. So, explanations and definitions. So, what's the balance sheet? What's the accounting equation? So, it's going over all of these things. Never, never discount how much information is in the textbook. So, you'll always be able to find out all the information you need in the textbook. So anyway, so you can pop in and out of the textbook. Let's see. And then another thing, it doesn't show up when I go into a problem. Sorry, I'm trying to find one. Well, these don't have it. But um, another thing that you're going to find, you'll see it on your side of things. I can't show you up from my side, but there should be an Ask My Instructor link. I think it shows up over here, or it might be underneath Check My Work. Anyway, let's say you're working in this problem. You've gotten, you thought the answers that you put in were correct and it's still giving you, answers not complete, or you just can't get one of the numbers correct. Maybe you're not able to fill in, um, I don't know, long-term debt or something like that. So you can click over here where it says Ask My Instructor and put in there, I can't figure out what makes up long-term debt. I tried this and it doesn't balance, or it says it's not correct. Could you please help? So then that gets emailed to me directly, and then I can specifically go and see your exact problem and I'm able to respond to it. So if you have a question about specific homework, definitely reach out that way. The other thing, unfortunately, that I'm not seeing in this set of homework, a lot of times over here on the side, there's going to be a hint link, HINT. So when you click on that, it's going to open up an example that's similar to the one in your homework and walk you through how to do it. A lot of times they won't have that with a problem, but they would have that if it was just an exercise. So if it's just one little piece of it. So you will see that from time to time. When you're working in the homework, make sure you hit save and exit to save the work that you've done. And you can go in and out of the homework as much as you need. You just need to make sure that you complete it by the due date and time. So chapter 1 assignments are going to be due our second week of class, so that by the end of Friday next week, so not this week coming up, but the following week. So those are your assignments that you'll have for every chapter. I'm going to scroll real fast to go to our course schedule. So week 2, we're going to be covering chapter 1. You're going to read the chapter. You're going to look at the announcements that I put about the chapter out on Western Online. And then as far as graded homework, you've got the Smart Book to do, and you've got the chapter homework. So those are going to be due for every chapter. Week 3, we're doing chapter 2. You've got a Smart Book, you've got a homework. Week 4, chapter 4, you've got a Smart Book and you've got a homework assignment. So we're doing about a chapter a week. You'll have both of those assignments for each one. Okay, let me go back to the syllabus. I'm sorry, I need a little drink. All right, what else do we need to cover? Um, Western Online. If you're new to WIU and Western Online, which is basically D2L, here's some resources here. Some system check for your computer. Here's a little tip sheet on how to use it. But you can also, when you come into your, and mine isn't loading, when you come into your home page, you have the ability to sign up for in your student resources, sign up for some online training for Western Online. There's this online virtual assistant. And then another way that you can access that information is when you're within our 307 course. If you come over to the content area, if you come to this welcome module, oh, sorry, I'm seeing a little bit more than what you guys are going to be able to see. Oops, hold on. Let me let me do this. Okay. So you can come into this welcome module, and here's just some kind of generic information about online learning. And then also it has links to Western Online, being able to use that and possibly signing up for a review. So if you need that to get started, it's available to you. Right within the coursework. So again, that is in your content area. And if you scroll down, it's in this welcome module. So you can find it right here. Okay, so I assume a lot of you have probably used Western Online before. I do recommend setting up notifications in Western Online. I will use announcements, due dates will post through Western Online. So it's helpful to get notifications of that so you don't miss anything. So you can get an email to you, texted to you. I do recommend at least email, if not texting as well. We will be using a lockdown monitor and browser on the exams. You've got two exams throughout the semester, so I'll walk you through getting that lockdown monitor and browser. It's one that's utilized through Connect. So if you've used Respondus, that's something that's in Western Online. Proctorio is something that's built in within the Connect homework management system. You don't need to pay any additional money. It's already included in your electronic access for Connect. So that is part of it. How to get a hold of me, I've got office hours. You can always pop into those. If you need to set up a different time, just let me know, send me an email. Please put Accounting 307 in the subject line. I do have 6 classes, so it can get a little confusing in my inbox if people don't tell me what class they're in. Um, let's see, office hours, I've already talked about that. We'll be communicating through Western Online and email. So I'll be doing at least weekly announcements. I'll be checking in on you. I'm monitoring your progress. You may get individual emails from me about your progress. So if I see that some assignments haven't been done, I'm going to reach out. But I definitely encourage you to contact me. So I can't say that I will necessarily see immediately if you've missed an assignment and be able to individually email you. So if you miss something, fall behind on something, definitely reach out. I want you to complete the material versus not completing the material. So I want you to learn it. I don't want you to miss something. So I get that stuff does happen. Sorry, this is what I was trying to find with all my scrolling. So late work, um, let me know if something happens where you miss a deadline. I've been fairly flexible with some extensions as long as you keep me in the know. Less so with extending exams unless there's a documented reason. Okay, what else do you need to know? Artificial intelligence. We're not going to be utilizing that within the course. Why? Because this is basic business knowledge. So there's no reason for you to need to um, get information from AI. So I need you to learn basic accounting terms, basic accounting principles that are used within business and be able to apply those using critical thinking. So really the only thing you'll have access to, like the Check My Work features, the AI reader within Connect. If you want to use something to help create some study materials, that's fine. Um, I'm going to also talk about resources that are allowed on your assignments. So all the work that you submit for a grade needs to be your own work. And when it's the smart book assignments, the homework, you can use Check My Work. You can use your textbook and your notes, but it does need to be your own work. The only time where you're not able to access your textbook and notes would be on an exam. So on the exam, you do need to do it independently using your own brain. I let you have a note card with anything you think you'll need. Outside of that, though, that's the only assistance that you would receive. Okay. Um, what else do we need to know? Okay, it's late. Sorry. What else are you going to be doing in the course? You'll have two exams. The first one will be over financial accounting. That does cover more of the content of this course. So that exam ends up being 18% of your grade. Your second exam will be on the managerial concepts of the class, managerial accounting, and that will make up 12% of your grade just because we're covering fewer chapters there. It's not saying that it's less important. You know, financial information is also used by management, but um, two exams, one after the midpoint and then one during finals week. You're going to have a quiz or what I call a mini test before each exam. So let's talk points here. The mini tests in total will be worth 150 points between two mini tests, and those you'll be doing in Connect. You can still use your book and your notes. You only have one attempt. And if you're ever in doubt as to what resources you can use, I've got that along with each type of assignment. And then your exams in total will be worth 300 points. The financial exam worth 180, the managerial 120. It has to be completed by the due date and time. You will take it on your computer using the lockdown monitor and browser. You do need the webcam and you do need a microphone to record. So it will record you. It's going to record your screen. You have to do an environment scan. You have to show ID. So all of that will be part of it when you're taking your exam. You can have the 3 by 5 inch note card handwritten. You can have scratch paper. It has to be blank. You can have a calculator that will be provided to you within Proctorio or within Connect. Okay, so here's all the the points and the percentages on everything that we've talked about so far. A couple things that I haven't mentioned yet, the getting started assignments. I'm going to scroll back up. So getting started assignments within Connect. Oh, so how do you get to the assignments? Again, you can come down here to the content area. You could click on the getting started. Also, anything that needs to be submitted with a due date and time, all your graded assignments will be popping up here in the calendar and you can click on them that way. But let's look at the getting started assignments. So here's everything within that folder. I'm going to go to something in Connect. And so this is an assignment in Connect, and that's you can launch it right from Western Online, and it'll take you directly to that assignment. So these orientation videos, they're videos that talk about, there's an orientation video for SmartBook, for the homework assignments, for Proctorio. I can't even remember what else, but they're out there. So anyway, so you watch the video, answer the question, and you can score your answer. I don't know if there's check my work. Score the answer, and then you can move on to the next one. So you do need to, in these orientation videos, and they are worth points, you do need to watch the videos and then answer the questions in order to get the points. So there's several orientation videos. Let me see. Oh dear. Let me see how many there are. Oh my goodness, it wants to be very slow. Maybe it doesn't like how many tabs I have open. Okay, so, oops, try it another way. If I hadn't mentioned it, I think I did. There is a troubleshoot that's on the syllabus that you can run for the Connect system just to make sure you're have everything on your computer that you need. So here's all the orientation videos. There's one just about Connect itself, and so I'm saying start with that one. There's an orientation video about SmartBook. Watch the video, answer the questions, end of chapter assignments. That's the homework assignments. Oh, we won't have writing assignments, so I'll make sure that one's not on there if it is. And then lastly, there's a syllabus quiz. So there's a little quiz after you've had a chance to review the syllabus. So that's everything that's in the getting started assignments. And again, you can link to those from the Western Online homepage. Last but not least, let's talk discussion. So there are going to be 7 discussion topics throughout the semester. I'll show you those on the course schedule. The discussion has 2 parts to it. You do your initial post, needs to be 2 to 3 paragraphs. Again, your wording. Um, if you're citing references, you need to tell me that. You need to cite them. Don't be using AI. It needs to be your own thoughts. It's just 2 to 3 paragraphs. So you're going to do your initial post by Friday night, and then you're going to do a follow-up post on another classmate's discussion point. And that needs to be a, at least 3 complete sentences, so at least a paragraph going over someone else in the class's discussion. Um, Hopefully adding to the discussion, adding thoughts. Everyone should be polite and courteous to everyone in the class. So definitely be respectful of everyone. So your grade will be 20 points overall, 14 for the first post, your initial post, and 6 points for the follow-up. And the follow-up needs to be completed by that Sunday night. So that's the only thing that's due by Sunday night. So everyone has to get their initial post done by Friday. Your follow-up comments on another student's information by Sunday evening. So there will be a discussion point topic like every other week. So um, our first discussion post is going to be due September 4th. Initial discussion post is on September 4th on week 2, and then your follow-up post by that Sunday. So, I don't have that posted yet, but I will get it out there. To get you going on that, if you haven't done discussion posts before, you will see, I will have them in the content area where I want you to do those. So in week 1, it's not a true discussion post, but it's your introduction. So I want you to introduce yourself to the class. I'm going to put mine out there. I haven't done that yet. But I'm asking some questions, and I want your introduction to be 2 to 3 paragraphs, same as the other discussion posts. This will be worth 10 points of extra credit, your introduction. So it's not required that you do it, but I'd really like to know more about you and gets other students feeling more comfortable having some knowledge about other students in the class. So I will get mine out there to get everything started, and hopefully I will see all of those by what is the due date on this? The due date, I believe, is August 30th for the initial introduction. Where is it? Student introductions. Availability ends August 30th. This one, I'm not requiring any comments unless you want to say hello to your fellow students. But this one is just going to get us familiar with that discussion format. And then the following week, we'll have one on an actual accounting topic. So there will be discussions. And on the syllabus, the discussions are, I think they are 14. They're 14% of your overall grade. So here are the points and the percentages of all the assignments. Here is the percentage for letter grades. So you can take a look at that. When you're online, please be courteous to everyone and what you're posting and in emails and things like that. Sometimes I might have to make an adjustment to the syllabus, so I've got that on there. I don't really plan on it. Here's all the links to all of WIU's statements. So if you need some additional information, you can click on those links to get that information. And then here is the whole course schedule for the semester. I have everything out there through the first exam, which is the financial accounting exam. I don't have the discussion posted yet. I don't have the discussion post posted. So I will get that up there, but your student introductions are out there for you to put out there on the discussion board. Anyway, my recommendation, assignments are due Friday night. I recommend you start on the weekend before. So start with reading the chapter, then you can begin the smart book no later than the first part of the week. Start in on that homework assignment middle of the week at the latest. That way you've got a little bit of time to reach out with questions. Ideally, you would also be beginning on your homework at the start of the week, and then you have until Friday to get it completed. These homework assignments are going to take you a while, so please don't wait until Friday night. My response time, I've got in my introduction, is going to be, anticipate no more than a 24-hour response time. But on weekends, I'm not going to be responding in that quick of a time frame. So think regular business week and longer response times than on the weekends. So you can take a look at that schedule. I can't. I'm like, is there something else urgent that I forgot to talk about? If it is, it's eluding me right now. If you have other questions, please reach out. Yep, so I've got everything through the financial accounting exam. I'm going to get the welcome announcement out there once I get this video attached to it. I'll send an email with the syllabus, which you can always link to when you're in the class right there. So yeah, so if you come up with any other questions, feel free to reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Can't wait to read the student introductions. I'm gonna get mine posted probably first thing tomorrow. So, all right. Good night. Have a lovely evening, and I will talk to everyone soon. See you later.